Hello viewers and welcome to Trashtalk on Heavy Gear 4th edition, a series where I talk about the various gears and vehicles you can pilot and drive around in the Heavy Gear universe. In this episode, let's talk about the gears from the North. The North, being the one who invented the Hunter, the first gear, really honed their crafts and technology over the last 300 years. Their gears are often more specialized in a role, and more often than not, packed a lot of direct fire power, usually in the form of linked medium rocket pods which are very painful, and due to the mountainous terrain of the North, some of their gears have climbing gears to take advantage of these terrains. So, this is gonna be a bit unusual compared to my usual trash talk, since there's literally around 200 units in the Heavy Gear 4 ebook and most are gears, so I will try to give as short of a summary to each unit as possible, mostly in the context of what a player should expect from the machine. I will also not be talking about anything within the expanded content doc which could be updated at any point, and I already have enough trauma for that situation, or any upcoming supplements, those goes into their own videos, probably. Anyway, let's start with the Priority 1 gear, which will give the players access to Hunter, stripped down Hunter, Bobcat, and Lynx. So, the Hunter,
here we go again.
Let's talk about it for the second time. This gear will be our benchmark, so for the purpose of the rest of the series, the Hunter will be considered average for all its stats, and honestly, the Hunter just works as a do-everything unit. You can't go wrong starting with it, and it is truly made for just about every role ever. It's even said so in its trait, you won't have a hard time finding and repairing it. Among the roles it has been put into are Mine Layer, Combat Supplier, Recon Sniper, Armored Tank Hunter, Anti-Tank Missile Carrier, Stealth Gear, Mountain Gear, NBC Protected Gear, and even Military Police, which can be dropped out of the sky and pack a mech-sized shotgun, and all variants could be upgraded with a comms suite, which is required for the commander archetype to actually do their thing. I also want you to notice that not every variant has the same priority level. Although the Hunter is a PL1 unit, some of its later variant isn't, and these variants are usually just plain better, so if you want to keep using the Hunter, you can consider the later variant. Even taking the comms suite needs a +1 in PL, which also upgrade the EW stats slightly for better command role and EW defense. My most favorite variant is definitely the Hunter's Restorer A, which has two full-sized guns, a light bazooka for anti-armor and area of effect, and a medium frag cannon to blast infantry apart, as well as the addition of field armor and armor jacket for more protection. Field armor decreases incoming damage by 1 to a minimum of 1, while the armor jacket add 2 more hull integrity as well as preventing most damage result to the pilot. This makes the Hunter's Restorer a very well protected and also pack a lot of handheld firepower. It's really good. I also have to mention the Assault Hunter for having what is probably the signature weapon of the North, the snub cannon. The snub cannon is exactly what it sounds like, a tank cannon that got cut down. The medium version this Hunter is wielding deal 9 base damage, which is a lot, and also has precise, which is just more damage, AP, which lets it deal some damage through armor as long as you roll well, and demo to quickly destroy building, whenever that's actually relevant. This is before adding the bonus you get from having the North as your starting sponsor, which gives any of your snub cannon the apex trait, which add another point of damage, and at 10 damage, the medium snub cannon has a very high potential of one-shotting most gear if it hits. The other thing you get from starting with North is that you can replace any rocket pod with a heavy machine gun. Since heavy version of a weapon is 1 slot bigger, this means you saved up 1 slot for the upgrade. This is a bit situational, because while the rocket pod has an AoE which lets it hits multiple targets, the HMG has burst 2 to hit more targets easily, and also deal 6 damage, so you can fire this alongside an auto cannon to rip a gear apart. It just depends on your preference, and with enough free slots, you can just add in another rocket pod for 2 slots anyway. The stripped down Hunter is basically a Hunter that's much lighter, with some armor and the rocket pod removed, as well as giving it a light frag grenades instead of Panzerfaust for some reasons. But this change makes the SD Hunter slightly faster and also easier to pilot, meaning despite the lower armor, it might be worth it because it's now harder to hit this gear, but if you do get hit, you will usually feel it. Most variants are just basic handheld weapon changes except for 2, the Recon Hunter with a recon sensor, and the AG variant with a 4 shots LATM pod, making this variant very lethal against high-value target as long as someone is spotting for it, and just like the Hunter, it could get a comm suite upgrade for commander. The Bobcat is definitely a baby first EW recon gear, because it is trying its best with a 0 EW stat. It's also terrible at shooting, cannot fight well in melee, but it can definitely run like hell with 9 speed and is easy to pilot, which it will need because it only has 5 armor. The Bobcat has 3 variant and they all do different things. What would not be different however is what's down here. A combination of comm suite and ECCM means that the Bobcat isn't just good as a commander gear, but can also withstand incoming hacking attempt better, and with recon, it can also protect allies from hacking with ECCM at 24 hexes away in Blitz, and also can communicate with others back with the comm suite with the enemy unable to hear the encrypted message, though the latter is mostly a roleplay thing only, no actual mechanic in field. However, with a 0 EW stat, it will still struggle a bit withstanding hacking attempt even with the extra dice from the ECCM. A lack of ECM means that the Bobcat can only hack enemy when they try to hack it, so most of the time a Bobcat will probably be shooting at things or forward observing for allies, which is what its standard variant is made for with a target designator. All the ATM variants of the Hunter you saw just now will benefit a lot from this device, which gives more accuracy to any guided weapon, even better if the Bobcat uses its speed to get behind the target. The light SMG is also a good weapon for the Bobcat because with how atrocious it is at shooting, giving it a gun that's mostly only good for shooting infantry and light vehicle is a somewhat decent idea. Then there's the Bird Arrow with light anti-air AC to try to shoot down aircraft while the anti-missile system makes sure the pilot doesn't die. Somehow I don't think this is a good idea, but it's not like Western Frontier Protectorate has budget for anything, and also the Bobcat AG, still don't understand what AG means, which is a sniper variant. In a gear that's an awful shot, there's bipod and stabilizer for more accuracy, but you better upgrade the fire control for a proper sniper. And for the last of the PL1 unit, Lynx, if you are using this gear against infantry, good. If you are using this gear against proper combat gear, you will die. The Lynx is a rapid response gear that's more a transformable powered armor made for infantry company, and it's very good against other infantry, but against anything heavier, it just dies. It has 4 armor for its base variant, thin enough that an infantry machine gun can shoot this thing apart eventually. Its upgraded variant at least gives it 5 armor, no longer exposing the pilot, and gives it light Panzerfaust for anti-armor punch, but you still do not want to drive this thing into a war zone if possible. It's basically a motorcycle with gun strapped to it. Yes, it has early warning system so you can dodge 0 MOS glancing blow easily, but with 0 piloting, I would not rely on that at all. And now we are moving into PL2, and there's only one unit, the Wildcat. The Wildcat is a speedy 5 armor gear that's good at both shooting and cutting people up with the Brawler 1 trait and a medium vibroblade, making it a good gear for anyone that wants to get close. It also has integrated comm suite so it's already good for commander, and early warning system so it can avoid glancing blow, though with 0 piloting, don't rely on it too much. Its armament is mostly the same as the Hunter, just lacking in anti-infantry firepower in general, but it is probably more effective in using short-range weapon like the frag cannon, snub cannon, bazooka, and grenade launcher due to its high speed in getting close faster. Rabid Wildcat is also more well protected with field armor on top of the early warning system, so that's nice. There's also the Pathfinder Wildcat, which is a good recon gear with a long-ranged rifle and ECCM for EW protection, almost like it just looks at the Bobcat in its singular eye and then steals its job in front of it, but it's a PL4 variant, so the Bobcat is safe, for now. Moving on to PL3, we are finally moving into the realm of fire support gear with the Armored Hunter and Bear Hunter, along with Mad Dog R and Tiger. The Armored Hunter is a hunter that's armored the heck up to 7, and also pack a field mortar for indirect bombardment. Unfortunately, this makes it so heavy, it not only has speed 5, but also being the only gear with lumbering, which makes it unable to double its speed to go faster at all. Probably why they give it a field mortar for some long-range poking, but I'm pretty sure the field mortar is the problem here and it's currently crushing the Armored Hunter's ankle. Other than that, most other armament are what you could expect in a hunter. The light field mortar is honestly a very good indirect weapon, dealing 8 damage over a 20 meters radius AoE, which is huge. Any gear group getting hit by it will feel it, let alone an infantry squad. It also has tow hook, useful for whenever someone gets stuck. As for the Bear Hunter, it's almost identical to the Armored Hunter, because they are the same thing. The Bear Hunter just has an engine from a bear to move at a decent pace, but now at the cost of being vulnerable to haywire effect. This is vastly more dangerous in heavy gear blitz, because you get haywired there from getting shot by particle accelerator or get hacked. Over here at 4E, you only get it by getting attacked by specific weapons. So it's perfectly fine as long as you don't encounter a faction that is loaded with particle accelerator, like the CEF. Ah, shit. With 7 armor and slow speed, the Mad Dog R is the first North gear you get that comes with a linked medium rocket pod. This is technically 2 MRP linked together, but you don't get double damage. What you instead is an extra dice to your dice pool to roll if you fire them together. increasing your hit chance. You can also fire them separately, which gives you 8 shots worth of MRP in a sortie, which at 8 damage with AoE and AP1, is going to hurt a lot. They also come with linked medium machine gun, very effective against infantry and lightly armored gear with more range than APGL, as well as a big handheld gun, either a medium bazooka, heavy autocannon, or a freaking light field gun, which is a very good long-range weapon capable of indirect fire all the way to 240 meters with 9 damage, blast, or AP, making it an incredible anti-everything cannon. Just that you have to reload it often. Unfortunately, that variant is also only available at PL5, which is fair. It is quite powerful. There's also the Mad Dog special with linked medium ATM instead, just to make tanks fear the sky. You can also switch out linked MRP for a single heavy version. This gives more damage, but you might miss more. The Tiger is a direct improvement to the Hunter in almost every aspect: tougher, better fire and pilot control, and has medium version of handheld weapon and rocket pod comes standard. It's just plain better. What's not to like? There's even a Pathfinder variant with a heavy rifle in case you are looking for a better scouting option. The only one that's not medium is the light rapid bazooka, a version of the bazooka that only fire heat shell but rapidly for burst 1, giving you both higher hit chance and the ability to blast 2 targets at once with armor piercing attack. The Tiger also has a satellite uplink upgrade, which also contain a comm suite. The uplink basically gives +1 to comms roll, when it is unopposed. Otherwise the roll works just as normal. It's still a nice thing to have. And as bonus for PL3, I also like to give an honorary mention to the Behemoth, the main gear transport for the North, which has enough space for 4 gears, perfect as a home base for your players to roam around Terra Nova. Finally, we reach PL4, which contains Bear, Cheetah, Ferret, Hunter XMG, Leopard, Para Hunter, and Spearhead Hunter. That's a lot of options. The Bear is the first fire support gear for the North, packing a heavy autocannon, linked medium rocket pod, and a light guided mortar. It's a lot of firepower to say the very least, both long and close range. The guided mortar has less damage and AoE than the field mortar, but has a higher chance of hitting things. The Bear also has an auto HMG, which means that when you use it as a reaction fire, you do not need to spend an action point at all to do so. It's essentially free damage. Add in 7 armor and 7 hull integrity. This creature is mean as heck, and there's worse things to come, and all its variants are just different ways of blowing stuff up, like the Mauler Bear with heavy grenade launcher and shaped charge to bring down building, Black Bear with heavy rapid bazooka and medium artillery rocket for uninterrupted bombardment, at least for a while. Havoc Bear, which somehow combines indirect bombardment capability with electronic warfare shenanigan, and the Brawler Bear, which has a heavy rotary cannon, which is absolutely devastating against both infantry and gear. Plus you can add in satellite uplink, making this thing viable as a commander gear too. The Cheetah, with speed 9, 5 armor, +1 piloting and early warning system, is a light gear that's considered to be one of the best electronic warfare gear in Heavy Gear Blitz, and over here in 4E, it remains an extremely impressive one. Its base variant is decked out in EW equipment, comms suite, ECM, ECCM, target designator, and a recon sensor for extended range. It's lightly armed, but honestly, you will probably be jamming, hacking, and forward observing enemy most of the time. However, that would be true only in Blitz, because a unit can only do one thing at a time there. Over here in 4E, a unit can perform up to 4 actions per turn, which means a Cheetah can totally hack someone, and because they are now worse at dodging, then shoot them in their face, which is very funny to me. The rest of the variant is just whether you want more EW capability or firepower, with an additional of 1 police variant that's somewhat better at meleeing and also has a shield to protect itself with. The Ferret is also another electronic warfare specialist gear from the North, which has 4 armor, worse gunnery, and no early warning system, so it already look far less impressive than a Cheetah, but it is faster, and most of its variant has the elite sensor, which boasts a massive 36 hex range in Blitz to Recon's 24, which basically means that it can be safe from a lot of danger as long as it keeps its distance. It also has 1 stealth variant at PL6, an equipment you can only get at PL7, plus an extremely funny variant with 4 shots of medium Panzerfaust to flank someone and give them a nasty surprise. All this while packing an extended fuel tank, so if your director wants your group to go on a long trip, this will be convenient. The Hunter XMG is an improved version of the Hunter with faster speed and higher performance, kinda like the GM and powered GM. It has Brawler 1 and a buckler to increase its melee defense, making it a devastating machine up close, and almost every single one of its variant has a light chain blade aside from the prototype, which add another Brawler 1 for a total 2, which can also be upgraded to a medium vibroblade, while the base brawler becomes a 2 ram plate can also be added in to improve ram damage, if you want to do that. However, unlike most Hunter variants, the Hunter XMG do not have a comm suite upgrade. Instead it has a dedicated spearhead variant which also upgrade its handheld weapon to a heavy autocannon, very powerful. The Leopard is a speed 7 light gear with good piloting and early warning system that also has a climbing gear, which makes it very capable of climbing to the top of a building in one turn, and then fire down on the enemy with better accuracy. However, do note that being high up means you probably won't be in cover, so better bring down the enemy fast. It's the first gear in this list that has underslung weapon for 3 of its variant, just think of it as 2 guns in one. While underslung weapon has a rule that it can only apply to autocannon held in 2 hands, cannon designs sometimes break the construction rule intentionally in ways the player cannot. It also has 2 variants that do not have underslung weapon, one with medium rotary cannon, and one with medium rotary laser, which is a direct upgrade over the rotary cannon. This gear also strangely has 2 melee weapon, though the spike gun is usually presented as weaponizing the climbing gear. It also has a medium frag grenade, because fuck the infantry, an airborne deployment rig, which makes it deployable straight from an airplane in the sky. The deployment rig is also obtainable at PL4, but it takes up a lot of slot, so not all gear is capable of equipping it. Orca is also available to the player at PL4, should they want a flying gear transport. Speaking of airdrop, the Para Hunter is also another gear made for paratrooper, though it's more on the cheaper side with less speed and capability and armament, but you can get comm suite in this thing, as well as having anti-armor and indirect support variant, and it has the low maintenance trait so you only need to maintain it every 11 days, if your director ever bothered to count the day. And then there's the Spearhead Hunter, a hunter specifically designed for commander from the ground up with satellite uplink, ECCM, and a heavy autocannon, but lacking a rocket pod. Guess something else needs the free space. It also suffers from haywire vulnerability and high maintenance, which mean you need to maintain it every 3 days. It's good at what it does, just feeling a bit lacking in a way, I guess. And that's half of the North gear list done. There's still 12 more gears to go for higher priority level, but this video is long enough already. We will talk about the rest in the next video. Anyway, that's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe and click that notification bell button. If you want to see the videos early as well as further support my channel, you can join in my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.